Week 2 of the Kansas City Chiefs OTA practices are officially underway. And with that being said, we have a ton of news, notes, highlights, observations from another day in Kansas City for practice. Now, before we jump into the video, I want to give a massive shout out to all of the Chief media members out there who actually record these highlights, put them out on Twitter so we can, commentate over it and make sure you guys are kept up to date with all the news and notes. So before we get into the video, go follow PJ Green, Harold R. Kuntz, and Aaron Ladd, as well as all of the other Chiefs media members. Man, they do such a good job posting these highlights. These are not mine, these are theirs. So again, go follow them on Twitter. That way you can get all these highlights when they happen live. All the ads are up there to the top left. Now, also comment down below a player or maybe two players that you think could break out this season for the Chiefs. Now, that could be a rookie, it could be a veteran, a second-year player, or maybe they have just signed or traded for this offseason. Now, if you would ask me that question, there's a couple of guys that I think could take major steps up this season, one of them being Kelvin Joseph. Now, one of the main reasons I say that, and we'll talk about him again in a little bit, is he is a massive OTA standout so far, a former early-round draft pick of the Dallas Cowboys, and in my eyes, I think Kelvin Joseph could make a day-one impact on this team, especially now that L'Jarius Sneed is on a new team. But another guy I actually really think could have a better season compared to last year is Sky Moore. I know that there's not much room for him to, or not much space for him to play, right? With Xavier Worthy and Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice and Justin Watson, Justin Ross, Kadarius Toney. There's so many guys here looking to make a major name for themselves. I just still feel like, and I don't know why, but I think Sky Moore still has potential. Maybe I'm just stupid. Let me know in the comments down below. But without any further ado, let's talk a little bit about today's practice. Now, one of the biggest things was the attendance. There was a couple of guys there, a couple of guys not there, and we're going to talk all about it. Now, the first guy who actually was at practice today was Travis Kelce, and then Chris Jones, Hollywood Brown, Kadarius Toney, among the names who actually weren't there. And it's continuing to be surprising to me that Kadarius Toney is continuing to miss practice, because every single day he misses is another day that someone is going to, earn more reps or stand out, right, and take his job a little bit more further, right? Now, Xavier Worthy was at practice today, but again, not participating, really trying to be, cautionary, really trying to make sure that he ramps up and is able to rehab that tweaked hamstring. They do not want this to linger throughout the season, so I think they're actually making a very smart decision here, because he could easily restrain it, be out for a couple weeks, come back, restrain it, and then he's out for 8 out of 8 or 17 weeks of the season, right? So I think this is a good idea. Maybe even rest him until mandatory minicamp, or hey, even if it's still bothering him in a couple of weeks from now, just let him rest until training camp. Let him get these mental reps. I'm glad that he's actually at practice and not just sitting at home or sitting inside the facility rehabbing. I'm glad that he's actually at practice, reading, not like kind of going through the mental reps, seeing what guys are doing, and diving into the playbook. Now, Isaiah Pacheco appears healthy, appears like he's maybe lost a little bit of weight, a little bit quicker, a little bit more versatile. That's also one of the major takeaways from today's practice. Now, guys, also, before we deep dive even more into the video, do me a big favor, hit that like button just so we can get this video out to more Chiefs fans, but more importantly, subscribe if you're new. It's free, it doesn't cost anything, and we will be covering the Chiefs throughout the entirety of the offseason, not only OTAs, but mandatory minicamp next week or 2 weeks away, preseason, training camp, regular season, and get this, once the season starts, preseason, regular season, we will be doing film review for the games, so make sure you guys join the family for that as well. We got to see a little bit of Louis Rees-Zammit as well today. Now, this is interesting, because every time I try to hype up Louis Rees-Zammit, a lot of Chiefs fans specifically come at my neck and say, he's not going to make the roster, he's not good enough and whatnot. But honestly, guys, if I'm being super honest with you guys, he has actually looked pretty good. Not only as a return man, but as someone that you can get the football and he can work in space, right? He has all the athleticism in the world, and I know a lot of people don't think he's going to make the team, But don't be surprised at all either if he does. Now, again, I wanted to talk a little bit about former Cowboys second-round pick Kelvin Joseph. He is making such a good first impression, and I get it. There's no pads, there's no helmets and whatnot, but this is a guy that has all the potential in the world, and he's making noise early on in camp. On Wednesdays, first play of 7-on-7 during practice, Joseph caught Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes pushing the limits. The play resulted in an interception for Joseph, who has worked exclusively with the second-team defense to this point of the offseason. But once the pads come on, I wouldn't be surprised if he starts, getting in some reps here and there with that first team, starting to make more of a name of himself. And guys, I'm telling you right now, this dude has potential. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit of a change of scenery, and Kelvin Joseph could break out for this team. Again, we talk about that former second round pick mentality, that former second round pick mindset and work ethic, right? This guy was an early draft pick for a reason, right? If he can hit that stride, if he can come out here and make some big time plays, I think he is going to be an absolute steal, and a guy that's going to push and push and push for not only a roster spot, but for someone who can make a big-time impact on this team, maybe even right away. Now, there are some other guys looking good in this DB room as well. You talk about a guy like Nick Jones, a former 7th-round pick of, I believe, last season, and another 7th-round pick in Nazeed Johnson. I mean, this team in Kansas City, the front office, they do such a good job finding these late-round cornerback steals. I mean, let's talk about it, right? Nazeed Johnson, Nick Jones, and then you look at a guy like Jalen Watson, who's really taken a jump up over the past couple of seasons as well, as a former 7th-round pick back in 2022. So you just look at 3 former 7th-round picks just continue to make progress, continue to grow as players, and then you have some UDFAs as well as a Boye-Doe. You have, Keith Taylor. You got Christian Roland Wallace, DJ Miller, Miles Battle, and then Kelvin Joseph. So I really do like this DB room right now. I feel like they're doing a really good job developing some of these guys. So that is probably the biggest takeaway for me so far. Outside of that, I am also very excited to see Felix Uzama, see how he can develop. I really just want to see that potential jump off the page. Now, I know you have Charles Omenihu, you have Malik Herring, as well as BJ Thompson. But man, I really do think that he can take a jump up this season, even over, or maybe not over, a guy like Mike Dana or George Karafalakis. But I do think he adds some really good depth to this group. So let me know what you guys think so far here at Chiefs camp. I know it's very, very early, but so far so good, man. People are grinding. I want to see what happens with Hollywood Brown. I know he wasn't at practice today, but I really want to see, what happens in terms of his progress and his development with the guy like Patty Mahomes. And will this be his breakout season? Because in my eyes, I feel like it really could be, right? You just talk with the player overall, the speed, the ability to get down the field and make plays happen. I'm excited to see his growth. So hit the like button, subscribe, join the family, go follow all the Chiefs media members, and I'll see you guys in the next Chiefs update. Peace.